Well, the border continues to be a huge problem that is apparently getting bigger by the day. Joining me now, Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. Congressman, we know it's bad. It's easy to get on here and say it's bad. But what does that mean? You're the one with the details. What does bad mean?
Bad means that when I go down there, you have 500 people a day in San Diego, by the way. San Diego, which usually doesn't get a whole lot, coming across. And then you have 800, on top of that 500, you have 800 Ukrainians that are being processed every day, and 3,000 more of them coming in from Tijuana, that are going to be coming in from Tijuana. They're sitting in Tijuana right now because we can't take them. Bad means that when I go down there, and we just happened along in the middle of the evening, I see 46 in one place, another 50 or so on another place in Yuma, just 2 nights ago. And then yesterday morning, when I go back out at a time where normally you don't see very much, we have another group of 50 or so, and I talked to the Border Patrol agents, who, by the way, there's only 2 of them there because the rest are processing folks. Jesse, They had just finished, each one of them from different locations, had just finished sending 200 to the processing center, which is already overstacked. It's designed for about 850 and has over 3,000 people in it as of yesterday. That's just in Yuma alone. And I mean, I could go on and on. It is bad. The drugs are coming in like crazy, far more than ever. And you got drug traffickers, you got sex traffickers going on, and human traffickers all taking place. You got stash houses that people don't even talk about anymore, and everywhere from Phoenix, Rio Grande Valley. Jesse, this is an invasion. Any other rational leader and any other rational country in the world would say this is an invasion.
Congressman, you mentioned something a second ago, and I know it's an odd detail, but I am curious about it, that you saw a bunch in San Diego, and you said San Diego usually doesn't get that many. You would think San Diego would get a lot. Why don't they usually get very many?
Because they have a huge port of entry, and they have triple fencing in places. They have adequate fencing, and so they don't get as many as, say, Yuma sector. They don't get as many as Rio Grande Valley or Del Rio. So that's the reason why. They've got fence that goes for many miles. They have open areas just like everybody else does, and they get folks there. But they're right now about 500, which is still a lot. Don't make no mistake. That's a lot of illegal aliens a day. It's just not as many as, say, Yuma, which is at 1,000, or Del Rio, which is over 1,000, or Rio Grande Valley, which is 2,500 illegal aliens a day.
Congressman, you mentioned processing. They were busy processing people. And you mentioned the processing place that's built for 800 has 3,000 in it. When they're done in processing, where do they go?
They are ostensibly going to go to, if they're going to be detained, they're going to go to ICE, and ICE is going to find a place for them. And if they don't have a place, which right now they don't, they're going to release them into the country. If they don't go to ICE, they're going to go to an NGO, and that NGO is going to facilitate their transport somewhere into the country. So literally, we just saw some information from the Mexican Migrant Protocol lawsuit out of Texas. The Biden administration, when they were supposed to be turning people back, has released, as best as we can tell, I mean, the numbers are all skewed, and we're trying to sort it out, over 650,000 people under Title VIII. That isn't anywhere else. That's just under Title VIII of the code. So, Jesse, it's massive, and it's going to get worse.
Good grief. Okay, one thing we don't hear a lot about, now I personally have witnessed this when I lived in Arizona, but one thing we don't hear a lot about is the environmental impacts. Shockingly, the environmentalist groups are very quiet about the environmental impact of illegal immigration. Can you explain why?
Yeah, because this doesn't fit with their narrative of basically radical environmentalism. They're okay with open borders because they're radical leftists. At heart, they are radical leftists. They are authoritarians. But I just saw the filthiest river in America. It's called New River. You'll see it if you go to Calexico, California. We don't even, we discourage our Border Patrol agents from getting in there because it is so filled with E. coli, other, pesticides. It's just filthy. But illegal aliens, they'll get in that water and they'll go on down. And we have gates there that are cut by these illegal aliens who are trying to come through, so they can cut the gates. And our officers are trying to stop them, but they can't. And then, Jesse, anywhere you go, I could take you to 50 or 100 spots that are just as bad as any landfill, any dump in America, and they just get worse all the time. We had some folks in Yuma the other day, yesterday morning actually, and they're saying, "Well, this is pretty bad. This is terrible." And I talked to because it was not bad for those of us who've been down to the border a lot, and they had just cleaned that up a week ago. It is filthy, and it's impacting our environment, and these environmental groups won't help us, and neither will the Biden administration.
Title 42, we hear that word a lot out there now, but a lot of people don't understand what that means. What's Title 42? Why does it matter?
It's authority for Border Patrol to turn away people without bringing them into the country because of a communicable disease outbreak. And so under COVID, they were just sending back folks who were under Title 42 countries that we have agreements with. But we still have, besides COVID, by the way, yeah, they're going to make us wear masks, but they're not going to make people leave the country. But by the way, there are other communicable diseases that we should be really concerned about besides COVID. I mean, a non-treatable TB, Hansen's disease. We've seen plague, we've seen smallpox. I was talking to a customs officer they had a guy in and he had a biological, some kind of, it was eating his skin. It was disease eating his skin. Nobody could identify it, even on the American side. And we should be turning those people away, turning them away. In fact, it shouldn't be just Title 42, Jesse. We should be turning everybody away who comes between our port of entry. We should just say, no, you cannot enter. And if they want to try to get amnesty or asylum, they should be going to the port of entry, which, by the way, is international law as well as U.S. law.
All right, it's been in the news a lot lately that Texas is busing illegals into D.C. I saw Ron DeSantis of Florida said he was going to be busing them to Delaware. Now, I don't have any issue with any of that. That's all good and fine, but sounds like campaign prop stuff to me. How effective can that be? Or am I wrong? Is it effective?
Well, I think it can be effective if we were transporting everybody that we are transporting daily, and we were sending it to central locations near Delaware, where the president lives, or D.C., where leftist members of Congress are in their bubble, or Nancy Pelosi's gated and guarded mansion in Northern California. I think it would have an impact. I also think, though, that what Greg Abbott is doing, governor of Texas is doing, is he is helping highlight how bad things are. And the narrative has to get out there. More and more people need to understand this is real stuff. It will impact their communities. And once Title 42 goes away, if it really does go away, we're going to see more than double. I mean, even the DHS has said it's going to be more than double the daily illegal immigrant crossings.
Golly. Congressman Andy Biggs, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jesse.